Joined by hockey analyst Cheryl Pounder. Cheryl, absolutely no surprise to see Marie-Philippe Poulin at the top of our list. So let's go to Sarah Fillier, number 2. How big is the gap right now?
Well, the gap is narrowing, Gino. But before we get to Fillier, you have to talk about the consensus number 1 in Marie-Philippe Poulin and what she has done over her illustrious career. We look back on the past year, her World Championship overtime winner, the Olympic gold medal. But I have to say, this past World Championship in Denmark, one of her biggest plays to me was a blocked shot. So it wasn't the golden goal, but it was taking one away late in the third period to steal the game. So she works on both sides of the puck, which is why she is one of the best of all time. But Fillier is certainly getting closer. I mean, Poulin is 31 years of age. Fillier is 22. And a year ago, I was asked, would you put her in your top 5? And the only reason why I said no was because her body of work at the senior international level. So she walks in there into Calgary, her first world championship, and she embraces the pressure. She gets everyone talking about her crossover speed, her ability to speed the game up, slow it down. And then she heads to her first ever Olympics, where she's playing with the Build a Spoon line, Natalie Spooner and Melody Daoust. She walks away with another gold medal and 11 points. She heads into Denmark now for her second world championship. She no longer has either of her line mates with her. So clean slate. She walks into the world championship. She leads the team with 11 points. She is the lone Canadian on the All-Star team. This athlete will be number 1 in the world at some point.
Okay.
She's intelligent. She distributes the puck. She's unbelievable.
Okay, you mentioned at some point. Let me ask you this. 11-year age gap, 31 and 22. Does Fillier surpass Poulin while Poulin is still playing? At what point does it happen?
It could happen in a few years. It could. I think Poulin is going to stay on this team. She is the clear leader. She is going to go down as the best of all time. But as she ages, the torch will be handed over to a player like Sarah Fillier. She is the real deal, Gino. Everyone knows it. She leads by example. She's not the most vocal or doesn't seem it, but she's on the power play. She plays PK. And when you're being mentored like a player like Poulin, the world is your oyster.
She doesn't have to be vocal because you're saying it all for her. That's all
I'm saying it all for her, aren't I?
So 6 Canadians ranked inside the top 10, including 4 of the top 5. What else jumps out to you about this group of Canadian talent?
Well, there's a few players that really stand out to me. Renee Desbiens, of course, the goaltender. Anytime you're coming in after Shannon Zabados and trying to take over, it's difficult. The pressure between the pipes when you play for Canada, you know you're arguably going to be facing off against the United States in a 1-goal game. You have to be big. You have to be effective. So she gets the World Championship win a year ago in Calgary, the first time since 2012. She heads into the Olympic winter game. She makes 38 saves to ward off the Americans, and Canada would get their first Olympic gold medal since 2014. And then, of course, this past World Championship, for me, what sealed the deal with her getting in this top 5 was her ability to have those timely saves late in the game. I mean, she was acrobatic and put together a sequence I have never seen before in the game. It was absolutely incredible. And she really stole the end of that game to win it 2-1. So 3 major championships in 1 year. But you also have to look at someone like Brianne Jenner. And I have the utmost respect for this athlete. At 31 years of age, she had to reinvent herself. And what I mean by that is she's a right winger. She had been a center for most of her career with the national team. But in order to stay in the top 6, she had to move to the wing. And whose wing did she move to? Poulin. So she wins the MVP at the Olympics. I mean, she wins the MVP moving to the wing. Then you watch her in the face-off circle because they're a 1-2 punch. You have a lefty in Poulin taking the draw, and you also have a righty in Brianne Jenner, who's over 70% at the most recent World Championship. That's a dynamic duo that you don't want to mess with. So when you're looking at these two athletes, it was unbelievable to watch them play, but also for Jenner, scoring 2 goals in the final game in that 2-1 win. I mean, she's getting older. She's like a fine wine. She's getting better.
You get really excited about this talent, which is great news. Great mix of current stars and next generation on this year's list. TSN hockey analyst Cheryl, very excited, Pounder.